Maybe that's why Cyril isn't here. Maybe he's been defeated by Jaime, by El Jim. The loss was too much for him. Too much. And here we go, spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Neo Humanity. We have the South Korean Zerg player representing DragonKy Gaming. It is Dark. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the blue Protoss player hailing from the land of the Netherlands, representing Shopify Rebellion. It is Harstem. Here we go. As we saw a couple of weeks ago, Harstem did face off against Dark in World Team League in a best of 2, but it was only a best of 2, and because of that, you can snipe players with certain builds. You do have a map pick advantage in WTL. That's why we have seen a number of upsets in that tournament. And Harstem did go toe-to-toe with Dark, going 1-1. But now, it's a best of 3. Now we have some actual vetoes. And Dark is going to have his chance at revenge. Likewise, Harstem is going to have his chance to, once again, prove himself to be able to go toe-to-toe with the best Zerg player in South Korea. So I'm ready to bear witness. I'm excited. Show us what you got. For the time being, Hatchgas Pool, standard opener here from Dark. Likewise, Harstem is going for the gate expand. So likewise, an economic opener from both of our players. Harstem does move out across the map. But again, typically in ZvP, Dark, he doesn't really do anything too crazy. There was, a couple of weeks ago, there was like kind of a period where Dark was going for proxy hatches and 12 pools, like every game. Just constant proxy hatches against Protoss. But, you know, that was a bit of a phase, and Dark has since then moved out of that phase. He's kind of gone back to normalcy when it comes to his openers, but he's still a very aggressive player. He's still very willing to throw down a very fast lair, to throw down a fast Roach Warren, to be in your face with Niduses, with Ling Queen, with Roaches as well. Dark is one of the more unpredictable and aggressive Zerg players out there. Oh, as he's going to be taking the forward hatchery. Okay, third base is taken by Dark. It's going to be a very forward, aggressive third at that. It doesn't mean that Dark is going for an all-in, but it does mean that his creep spread is going to be very well established here for Dark, as it's going to be a bit of a launch pad for him. And it can lead towards a queen push, especially through these rocks. Queens and Roaches, they push through these rocks, and then they gain access straight to the natural base of the Protoss player. It can be terrifying. But again, we'll see if that is the intentionality of Dark, or if he just wants to take the forward base just for the Rich Gas Geyser. We'll see. As the Adept of Harstem does confirm this, behind this it is going to be a Stargate opener into Oracle, as to be expected. But because it's Harstem, and because he has been flexing a wide variety of builds, we're going to be keeping our eye on the follow-up. Is Harstem going to be going into a Twilight Council straight after this, into Glaive Adepts? Is he going to be going into a small gateway counter just to establish 3 bases and then go into Colossi production? That's also been a little bit popular in recent times. This first Oracle is going to be zooming out. We have the second Oracle behind this. Third base is on the way. Everything, again, still looking very standard from the Protoss. As the Oracle does move out, gets eyes on the third base, Larva morphed immediately into those drones. And that will be saved from this Oracle. Up! But he does catch some of these transferring workers. 2 drones go down, only for shields. Very nice pickups here from Harstem. Meanwhile, we only invested into 2 Oracles. We didn't get the third, and we are going straight into that Twilight Council. Gateways are on the way. 4 gates in total for the time being. No forge yet. This is looking kind of like Glaives. You know, behind this, Dark is going to be throwing down his own Roach Warren as well behind his main base. The Oracles, they dip in, they get a couple more drone kills here, and no, this is going to be Blink instead. He did not take a 4th Gas Geyser. He's going for a higher gateway count. With no Forge, I wouldn't be surprised if he does go for something like a 7-gate push. 7-gate all-in, even. Now that I think about it, it's been a while. It's actually been a while since I've seen a 7-gate all-in. It's been maybe 3 weeks. I can't remember the last player that did this. As the Oracles find a little bit more damage, the rocks are being knocked down, the creep is being spread, roaches and lings are in production. Dark is cutting workers at 46, and he's just going to be sending everything across the map. Meanwhile, Harstem himself was setting up for his own aggression, as we do have that Forge on the way. Oh, is Harstem going to be ready for this? We were alluding to this earlier about how when you take this forward hatchery, you can knock down these rocks, and it can lead towards a very committed push, and the shield batteries are on the way, but they're not done yet. One of the Stalkers does get surrounded. Lings push on forward. We do have the overcharge at the third base location, but we can just rotate over towards the natural instead. We don't have to commit to the third. Adept is going to be going down. Biles will force Harstem back with his Stalkers. Dark trying to break into the natural base, but the force field does stop him. And it looks like Dark is kind of running out of steam, but more lings come in. Another Stalker goes down the Lings. They go for a surround. The Biles will not quite connect. Blink did just finish up. Meanwhile, the Lings in the natural, they do get cleaned up as well. But the Stalkers are falling. The Biles, they connect as well. There are only 3 Stalkers left. And it looks like Dark has done it. He has broken the third base. Harstem is going to try and clean this up. He pulls the boys as well. The Oracle's doing what they can. Oh my god, but the Biles connect. And that's every single Stalker. GG gets called. And Dark will take game number 1. GG. Harstem just wasn't quite able to recognize what was happening until it was a little bit too late, despite the fact that he was very active with his Oracles and he was doing a lot of economic damage. Don't get me wrong, very impressive stuff with his Oracles. He actually didn't spot the rocks and how low they were until a little bit later. If you saw, the shield batteries weren't starting until Dark was already at his front doorstep. So kind of a late reaction with his shield batteries. We also had a pretty low gateway count as well. That's what was really throwing me off when I was trying to read what Harstem was up to. He was on 4 gates. And his 5th and 6th gate were really delayed. His Forge was really delayed as well. It was really peculiar. I was like, what's going on? I was trying to figure it out. I was like, what's going on? What is the plan here from Harstem? Because I assumed initially that it was going to be like a 7-gate all-in, but we still only had 4 gates at the time. No Forge either. No Robo. So yeah, Harstem maybe just a little bit too preoccupied harassing across the map. And yeah, with that, Dark takes a lead in the series, but just a lead. We are going to be able to continue on and get into game 2. And game 2 will be taking place on Royal Blood. D'Artagnan versus Harthos. Let's go. This build is a nightmare to hold for a toss. It can be difficult. Can definitely be difficult. It's not just about recognizing what's coming your way, but it's also about preparing, either with your production, maybe with even a robo as well, with shield batteries, with positioning, with stasis traps. There's a lot that comes into it, and not the easiest thing to do. Here we go. Spawning in the top right hand corner of Royal Blood, we have the South Korean Zerg player representing DragonKy Z Gaming. Leading the series at 1-0, it is Dark. And spawning in the bottom left hand corner of Royal Blood, we have the Blue Protoss from the land of the Netherlands, representing Shopify Rebellion. It is Harstem. Let's go. And on Royal Blood, Harstem should have a little bit more breathing room. Isn't anywhere near as small as Neo Humanity, for example, has a much longer rush distance by ground. There's no forward base to take advantage of, so Harstem should be feeling a lot more safe and secure on Royal Blood. And we'll see what he does go for here. What his plan will be against Dark. As for the time being, he does force the unnatural natural out of the Zerg player. It's going to be a hatch gas pool. No early shenanigans from Dark this time on Royal Blood. No proxy hatch or anything like that. No early spawning pool timings. Likewise, Harstem also going into his own gate expand as well. So just economic openers all around. And we'll see how Harstem will mix up his builds. Like, it can be really difficult playing against Dark just because usually a Protoss player is dictating the pace of the game. Usually the Zerg player is reacting to what the Protoss is doing. That's kind of the dynamic between the two races. Alas, that dynamic changes when we talk about Dark, or just aggressive Zerg players in general. Whether it's Dark, Miyamika, Eric, Ragnarok is another good example, where they're just willing to go for these all-ins. They're willing to cut workers, willing to take early gases, early lair tech, or early lairs as well, early tech, and just go for these big pushes. And it can be difficult to kind of keep up with that when the roles are reversed. A lot of Protoss players maybe aren't familiar with that as well. I think especially in Europe, just because Serral and Raynor, I guess Raynor a little bit more so, but Serral definitely isn't, you know, known for his aggression against Protoss. Maybe they don't get as much practice. Speaking of, Harstem is going to be going for a Twilight Council opener. Let's go, Papi, let's go. No more standard play. Harstem wants to be the aggressor. He wants to be in the face of Dark. It does pull out of gas. It is going to be Glaive Adepts coming out from Harstem. There's the Robo as well, but how many gateways are we going to be seeing here? How committed is Harstem going to be? We can see 4 gate, which you can expand behind, 6 gate, which is pretty all in, and then 8 gate, which is just giga all in as well. There we go. So far, 2 additional gateways are thrown down in the main base. Have the Robo on the way. There is Glaive starting up. And for the time being, Dark doesn't know. His Overlord at the natural has been fended off. The Overlord in the main base hasn't gone in either. But Dark is reacting with a very fast Roach Warren. This was like a 3-minute 20 Roach Warren. Second gas is on the way as well. Dark will have roaches in time for these depths. And again, the Lings are looking to check. I mean, they're going to confirm there's no Nexus. They also confirmed that there is no Oracle either. So with this, like, he should be aware it's either going to be an Adept opener or maybe even a DT opener. Dark is getting ready back at home. Roaches are on the way. We're droning. No spores yet, but there we go. Spores are on the way as well. So again, Dark, he doesn't know if it's going to be a DT variant or not. So he has to get ready for it just in case. As spores are thrown down at the third and the natural. And here we go. The Adepts do reveal themselves. 4 gate Glaive Adept. And Adepts, they can make short work of Lings and drones as well, but they commit to the shade. Oh, they do dive on top of one of those Ravagers. Very nicely done, but the Lings get the surround. The Roaches are having a hard time reinforcing. The Lings do get cleaned up. Oh, and we don't shade with 2 of those Adepts. We do go into the main base, and drones are falling. 5 drones do go down. And that's already a good amount of damage. Especially considering that it was only 4 gates. Yep, there we go. We are transitioning. We're staying on 2 bases. We're going into a robotics bay. Third base is going to be thrown down behind that. Now with this bay, we can get into Disruptor production or Colossi. Typically it's Disruptors, as it does fare very well against Roach Ravager based compositions. And that should be what Dark is going to be making to counterattack. So Harstem has done a good amount of damage. He hasn't lost a lot of Adepts either. You can see here 5 Adepts for 5 drones and 24 Lings. So a good start here for our Protoss player. Back at home, Adepts, they went back home to make sure the third gets up and running. Disruptors on the way to help deal with those roaches and ravagers. And Dark is in a really rough place. We'll see if he doesn't intend to make any more workers. Because that's kind of the vibe that I'm getting right now. Dark is cutting workers here at 43. Trying to keep up with the Prism as well. It does do a lot of hull damage to it. But as you can see, Dark is still just making nothing but Lings and Ravagers. Pure Ling Ravager from Dark. We do have a lair on the way. So we may be waiting a little bit longer to get into something like Roach Speed. But if we're going to be waiting that long, I'm surprised that Dark isn't droning. Yeah, we're just still making Lings. Dark is just all in. He is so incredibly all in here, just banking up Lings in every single one of his bases. Only working off of 3 gases. Now with this lair, he can either go into Roach Speed or he can go into a Nidus. And I think a Nidus can work out very well. We do have an Overlord with vision into the main base of Harstem. Overlord here as well outside the natural. Prism hasn't done too much damage. Nova goes off, doesn't get anything at all. And the lair is done. Is it going to be... Oh, it's going to be for Mutas! Oh my... Okay. Dark, he's at 39 workers, but here we go. The Lings, they're going in, they get a full surround to show us the Biles, papi. And the Biles will be connecting. Nova goes off and does take down one of those Ravagers, but only 2 Ravagers fall for 2 Disruptors. That is not enough damage. Third base is going to be going down. Harstem so underprepared for this all-in. He was never able to scout the main base, never able to figure out what was going on. GG gets called, and Dark will take the series 2-0. GG. And he had a Spire behind it. I was shocked. He threw down the Spire and he had like 39 drones. I'm like, okay, fair enough. GG, well played. Harstem unfortunately wasn't able to figure out that his opponent wasn't droning. They just wasn't making any workers at all, and that he should be focusing himself on shield battery production and on general unit production as well. Unfortunately, Harstem just woefully underprepared, and with that, Dark will take the series 2-0. GG. It was a really good start from Harstem though. It was a really good start. Like, he went into the Glaive Adepts, he got a lot of damage done. He cleaned up a lot of Lings, he got a lot of economic damage, he backed off and he took a third base. Like, everything that Harstem was doing was correct, other than unable to confirm that Dark had stopped droning minutes ago. Like, for half the game, Dark, he was just staying at 40 workers, just focusing on nothing but Lings and Ravagers and Lings and Ravagers. He was going for a massive all-in counterattack, and that was the one thing that Harstem was not able to confirm, unfortunately. And GG. GG, well played. Dark advances on into the next round. Ooh, to face his next opponent, and we got somewhere to go. We gotta go, papi. Gotta go.